How to automate AWS Lambda Layers deployments with Git Actions. Are you curious about how to streamline your AWS Lambda Layers deployments using GitHub Actions? You're in the right place. Let's break down the steps to make this process smooth and efficient. AWS Lambda Layers allow you to package and share libraries and dependencies across multiple Lambda functions. This not only promotes code reuse but also enhances deployment efficiency in serverless computing architectures. Automating the deployment of these layers can save you time and reduce errors. First, you need to set up your GitHub Actions workflow triggers. This means configuring your workflow to activate on specific events, like pushes or pull requests to the main branch. This way, any changes you make to your Lambda layer code will automatically start the deployment process. Next, defining environment variables is essential. In your workflow file, specify variables like AWS region, runtime versions, and the libraries you want to include in your Lambda layer. This flexibility makes your workflow easier to manage. Now, let's talk about permissions. You must grant GitHub Actions the necessary permissions to interact with AWS services securely. This usually involves setting up permissions for identity tokens and configuring AWS credentials or roles that allow your workflow to deploy Lambda layers. Once permissions are in place, it's time to build your Lambda layer package. In your workflow job, install the required dependencies and package them according to AWS Lambda Layer specifications. This typically means creating a directory structure with the libraries and compressing it into a zip file that is compatible with Lambda. After building the package, you will deploy the layer to AWS. You can use AWS Command Line Interface commands or specialized GitHub Actions available in the GitHub Marketplace designed for Lambda layer deployment. These actions will automate the process of uploading your zipped layer package to AWS Lambda and handle versioning and updates. If your layer exceeds size limits, some GitHub Actions have a fail-safe mechanism. This feature automatically uploads large layers to an Amazon Simple Storage service bucket, ensuring smooth deployment without manual intervention. Another great feature is the ability to update dependent Lambda functions automatically. You can configure your workflow to do this, keeping all functions synchronized with the latest layer version without needing to update them manually. A typical GitHub Actions workflow for Lambda layers includes several steps. You start by triggering on a push or pull request to the main branch. Then, set your environment variables, check out the code, install dependencies, build the layer package, and deploy the layer using either AWS Command Line Interface or a dedicated GitHub action. Optionally, you can update dependent Lambda functions. By automating Lambda layer deployments with GitHub Actions, you ensure consistent and secure updates to shared dependencies in your serverless applications. This method aligns with modern technology trends that focus on infrastructure as code and continuous delivery. It reduces manual errors, speeds up development cycles, and improves maintainability across your cloud functions.